what is it in your heart that really is truly authentic and caring about other people? I've known you since you were out of college.
Yeah.
But you've always been gracious and humble and caring about other people.
I think that really comes from your upbringing.
Welcome to Entrepreneurs, the Playbook. I'm David Meltzer. We're here at the SiriusXM studios at the Wynn in Las Vegas. And it's always such a pleasure to have one of my dear friends, someone who I've looked up to for years in many different aspects of his career, starting with his football career, where I just had a big place in my heart, not only because he played for the San Diego Chargers, but he embodied what I dreamed about being, a guy who played lights out. He is lights out. Shawne Merriman, welcome back to the Playbook.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Fantastic. We were just talking about how humble you are. I sit here and you're doing so well, and you face so many different challenges in your career as well, with so much success. Within the struggle is always those solutions, and you seem to come out on top. But one of the things that I really enjoy about people like you is very rarely when you get a superstar like yourself in life, business, and sports, the first thing you said to me is, man, I love seeing your success.
Yeah.
It wasn't about you, right? You unabashedly barely talked about what you were doing. We got big fights in Long Beach coming up, things like that, with the lights out extreme fighting.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But what is it in your heart that really is truly authentic and caring about other people? Because I've known you since you were out of college.
Yeah.
But you've always been gracious and humble and caring about other people.
I think that really it comes from your upbringing, and once you have that foundation, it never really changes, right? Like it's who you are. And so when you go through what I went through growing up in Prince George's County, Maryland, in late '80s and '90s, and Washington D.C., people know exactly what that was at that time. It just becomes who you are. So it's hard to really change, right? Like, what are you going to change to? Because that is what made you who you are. So, and somebody always said too, because I'll be a lot of places by myself. I'll show up to places. They'll be like, "Oh, where's your security?" I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just a person like everyone else. But I think it really builds who you are, and it's hard to kind of pivot and change because those tough times when I was growing up, when we were homeless, when we didn't have much, when we were sleeping in the back of the cars, my mom, my sisters, like those things build something in you that never really changes no matter no amount of success you have.
And another Baltimore guy, Ray Lewis, and you have something in common. When you played football on the field, one of the things I remember Ray Lewis telling me is like, Ray, man, I just have to tell you, you may not be the fastest or the strongest or maybe even the smartest linebacker I've ever seen, but you may be the best, Ray. And what do you account for that? And he leans over, grabs me, and says, because I was willing to die when I stepped on the field. And I felt that way about you. Although off the field, you're a gentle giant. I've never seen you literally be anything but gracious, but don't mess with you, right?
Yeah, I think, look, it's and I make this joke all the time. It's no different than like Leonardo DiCaprio being the Great Gatsby, right? He didn't walk around like talking like the Great Gatsby,
so
or
true.
Denzel in Training Day. It's what you did for a living. It was a passion of mine. I loved those 4 quarters on Sunday to be that person, be lights out, right? Because we talked about the upbringing. That also was a part of it. I mean, all the things that we were going through when I was growing up, that was my only outlet. Mm-hmm. To go out there and practice and lay people out. Like that was my way of getting out, just separate myself from what was going on. Now, when practice was done, I may come back home to eviction notice. We may come back home to lights being off or no food in there, gas being off, and trying to figure it out there. So, that was my outlet for so many years that was the way I learned how to play. And when you're off, man, so when you play like that, you have a huge heart. You don't play the game that way unless you got a big heart. And so that heart kind of translated off the field to doing all the stuff that I did in the community, helping so many people out, being a part of still doing it, being a part of so many different charities and things like that in San Diego. And still, I was just down there, a few weeks ago being a part of something that's going on there. And that part of it never really changed. It's just in you and who you are.
Yeah, and to that end, you now are very involved in the extreme fighting.
Yeah.
Your own Lights Out business and brand has grown exponentially, even though some companies didn't make that easy on you either, and you stood up for yourself again. Very few people do that against the big conglomerates, multinationals. But what attracted you to the MMA side of things and fighting?
I started training with Randy Couture back in the mid 2000s. And I got into it. I just wanted to be better with my hands, be better outside linebacker, be a better pass rusher. And I found a passion in doing it every offseason and got better at it. So when I retired, getting the opportunity to go to some of the biggest networks, I went straight to NFL Network, was being a part of building some shows there, Fox Sports, ESPN, the WWE Network, which I worked with for some time. And so now you start getting the experience of your passion, and you start understanding production. You start understanding TV. You start understanding how ads work, who's paying the bills. And so I really started to dive in to that side of it because I was always curious. And I remember this. I'll tell a story here. I was at Fox Sports one time, and we got upset. And it was a regional Fox Sports in Texas. So I think it's Fox Sports Southwest at the time. And DraftKings was just kind of coming over and coming on and stuff like that. So DraftKings wanted to pay me a couple grand for like a 30-second read. So I started thinking, I said, hold on. If they're paying for 30 seconds, what is Fox making? Right. You know what I mean? That my mind was like, what is Fox Sports making? And so I was always very, very curious. I was very curious on what make things go and how to scale, how to grow, team building, because that is so important that people overlook. And a lot of that team building and leading the team really came from playing football. So I knew how to do that.
And both of us learned the traditional content game about the same time, understanding the networks, understanding sponsorship. Now, the face of content has amplified, and it's both built a lot of success individually for both of us. I mean, when you met me, we both probably would agree there was no way that anyone would probably even know who my name was other than Lee's guy or Warren Moon's partner. And, I was really graced when someone remembered my first name and would call me by that. Hey, Dave, how you doing? I felt flattered. But today, because of the amplification of content, and the multi-distribution points and post-production content of snippets and highlights and quotes and all those things, that there are definitely social silos where my name is known more than the biggest clients that I had. People say, oh, I don't know who that is, but they're big fans of mine. For you, you also play the post-production content game. How much of what you've learned from traditional content have you utilized to build such a big brand for yourself?
And you know it better than anybody else because it was your consistency of content, and you have to keep giving people what they want. I'll say this, content nowadays is just as important as any natural resource we have.
Oh, I love that.
It is. It's important as just as any natural resource we have, because without content, all these streaming services, these networks, both linear and traditional TV, they die if they don't have it. So what happens in natural resources, like some of these resources that we don't have, if you don't have it, you can't live. And that's what content is. And so, I'll put my money up with anybody who wants to have that conversation, because without content now, a lot of things don't move and can't go on if they don't have it. Social media, you name it. Without content, there's no social media. Without content, there's no big networks, no streaming services. There's nothing. And so content has become just as important as any natural resource that we have out here.
And aligned with that content that's a natural resource is a adjective that I take pride in when people say, man, Dave Meltzer is the most consistent. They may not say he's the smartest, the best, or best looking, which is fine with me, but I will put my name in the ring if they say, who's one of the most consistent people producing content every day? I do it every day, and I do it at a level that a lot of people can't. And how important is that?
People overlook that, like the consistency part, because it's hard. People may just see, you doing a podcast, you doing a seminar, you doing, these talks or whatever, but you know how hard it is to stay consistent with life going on? You got family, you got other, tragedy, you got emergencies. You know how hard it is. Some days you don't want to get out of bed, some days you don't want to do it, and you still do it. And so the consistency part of it is what allows you to be able to expand and get out there that way. And to tell you the truth, a lot of people don't have it. They'll start off and have some good weeks, good months, maybe even a good year. that year 2, 3, and 4, like they're falling off because the consistency of it is just shooting content all the time. It's just difficult. People don't have it.
And you saw it on the field with some of your teammates and people that we played against that probably had more talent than some of the other people, but they were just playing on talent. They weren't consistent. And some of the greatest players of all time have great talent like yourself, but had the grind like they didn't have talent. And we look at Kobe, he's one of the people that I thought, man, you were born and blessed with so much talent. But I tried to keep up with his consistency. I mean, it was insane how that guy had everything and had achieved everything. And still, you'd have thought he was a Austin Eckler 6 on the depth chart trying to make the team. For you, I use this Michael Jordan rule. You'll think it's funny. Every day, there's always something you don't want to do, right? You wake up, you're like, Jim, I could. And I never like to stack L's, but I have this Michael Jordan rule. I'm like, man, you got to work out today. I don't want to work out. Well, Michael Jordan's waiting for you. And all of a sudden, if Michael Jordan was waiting for me, I guarantee I'd go do that. So I call it the Michael Jordan rule.
Right. For
you, what is it that you naturally as a human being, you're like, damn, I don't want to do this today? What is it that gets you to do that? Because you're consistent as well.
Yeah, and tell you the truth, that the consistency in the days you don't want to do anything is what separate everybody.
Yeah.
If we all felt good every single day we got up, everybody would be rich. Everybody will be successful. Like, you know how easy it is to do something when you feel good every day? It's the days that, you sit at the edge of the bed, you're like, man, like this one's going to be rough. Or you put on your gym clothes and you kind of walk around the house a little bit and you sit down next thing you know, you never go.
Yeah.
Like, and everybody, people have done it, but it's those days you're like, you know what, I'm going to go get something in. And that is what I call the separation. When you get to that point, when you can do that, you start separating yourself from everybody, because those days that they're not willing to get up and do something, those are the days that most people say, I can't do it, and they fall back, and then the other ones move forward.
One of my favorite interviews was with the CEO and founder of GoDaddy. He exited personally for $4.2 billion, and he's in his 70s. And Bob said to me, Dave, if you love what you do, and I roll my eyes because I'm thinking he's going to say you'll never work a day in your life, but that's not what he said. He said, if you love what you do and you can learn to love what you don't like or love, and you can learn what other people don't like or love, and you can do that every day without quitting, life will tell you all its secrets. Life will be easy. It'll give you its cheat codes. And man, my heart, when someone says something that's so true, I said, that's what I want to be. I was a below average, as you know, college football player, but I learned to love going to practice, getting my ass kicked, to sit on the bench for maybe, if we got far enough ahead, to be able to get out on the field. And I carried that over into my life going, oh shit, if this is what I felt like for something I didn't really, and I wasn't really good at or born to do, what if I did something I was born to do? For you, learning to love that shit, how important is that?
It's the most important. Yeah, I mean, it really is. And I think Muhammad Ali said something along the lines of, like, he just hated training.
Yeah.
He hated it. But, when you're able to do something at a high level for the things you hate, the things you love become really, really easy. Really easy. And that is how you just excel to just levels that you can't even imagine, because it's so hard to do something that you absolutely just hate doing. And I never really had anything that I hated doing, but I had, things that I had to learn to love a little bit more, especially starting a business. Like I hated sitting down and, doing the financial planning and look at the books. And I'm like, I want to pull my
mail.
Yeah. Like I had
news.
Sitting down, bad news things. Oh, we're short in this side and we're not going to make it in this side. Cause everybody have those. When you start in businesses, you're like,
100% of the people have that.
This thing might fail. This thing is going to go wrong. And so you sit down and have to look at those numbers and books. You're like, oh man, this is going to be rough. And so when you start to look forward to those things, because I hated it, now the other things, the deal making, the promoting, the marketing, putting ideas and stuff together, those things became really, really easy. And I actually found a way to enjoy that, and actually got excited about it because I knew what we could and couldn't do. Now my mind started to wonder, like, okay, how much can we? Okay, we can do this. Okay, cool. So it was really learning to love the things that we hate the most.
Last question is, everyone has a different relationship with money. You and I were blessed to grow up with none. And it's a big advantage. I'll tell people when I'm speaking, who here grew up with nothing, and half the audience will raise their hand. I said, I feel sorry for the rest of you, because you'll never be able to have the mindset I have about money. You won't have the same relationship, good or bad. Your relationship, I'm sure, has changed with money from growing up with absolutely nothing to being superstar in the NFL and making that kind of money, and then being an entrepreneur as well, and being able to walk through that journey, like you said, of opening bills, opening letters, looking at the P&L, learning what a P&L was,
right?
All the painful things that every entrepreneur goes through. How has your relationship with money changed in the respect of growing up with absolutely nothing?
You look, because we don't have it, you want to get it because you think you're going to go get some stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
It'll make you happy.
It'll
be fine.
You know, cars, houses, whatever it is. You look at it like, if when I get this money, I'm going to go do this. My relationship with money has really changed because you start looking at it as a tool. Money is a tool to start doing the things that I really want to do. Not the things I can go and buy, things I can go get. Start doing the things that I want to do. And I don't care if that's scaling your business, hiring more people to expand, or, start donating more money, being more part of different charities. So you start looking at it, it becomes a vehicle, a tool to start allowing you to do the things that you really want to do. And so that's how my mindset really changed when I look at money now. It's like, okay, well, playing in the NFL, I've already had every car I want.
You're right.
Right. So now, if the next big check, I'm going to go get this, this car. That's I already done that. I don't want that anymore. So now you start looking at it like, man, what can I do? What can I do with the business? Who did I really, really want to hire that we didn't have the money with before to go and do? What can we go and spend some more money on the ad side? What can we go and look at tech to acquire? What can we do? So it becomes a vehicle, a tool, and not now when I get it, what can I go buy?
For the sake of what becomes a big component of it. And for me, generational wealth is for an older age, almost 60, believe it or not. I'm looking, how do I build not only generational wealth, but I'm finally, in my mind, wealthy, because my relationship has certainly changed. I used to buy shit I didn't need to impress people I didn't like. Now, for me, everything has a for sake of what. And for me to be able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, for as long as I want, like sitting here today with you for this time, is true wealth. And your knowledge, wisdom, and faith have always been a great source of wealth for me, to learn from you, to watch you, and a true admirer of you, but also a friend. And I appreciate all the support you've given me and all the support you've given to our community in San Diego especially. It's meant a lot. And I wanted to make sure that everybody out there knows a true champion on the field and off. A good friend of mine, the incredible Shawne Merriman, joining us here at the SiriusXM studios at the Wynn in Las Vegas. Thank you, Shawne. I
appreciate it. Thanks for having me, brother.
Take care. This is David Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, The Playbook.